This conference will now be recorded.
You ready to start? Oh, sorry. Okay. We'll get back to it. All right, let's call the City of Lovington regular meeting of planning and zoning Tuesday, July 14th. So order. Can I get an approval of the agenda? So moved. I have a motion. Hey, are you gonna?
We also need to add that to the agenda.
Yeah. So you want to say it out loud?
We're gonna do a re-election for chairman and vice chair. And the action items, so that's gonna be added to the minute, to the action items.
So we have a request to add to the action items, re-election for the chairman and vice chair of this commission. Well, are you good with amending your motion? Yes, I'll amend my motion. Okay. I need a second. I'll second. I have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Consideration of minutes, July 9th, 2020. You guys have had a chance, I haven't had a chance to review them, and a motion to approve or amend.
I'll make a motion that we can for the minutes from June the 9th, 2020.
Motion from Betty, is there a second? A second. Second, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Public comment. Is there anybody here to speak on anything that's not an action item? If not, we'll close public comment and move into action item. Need a motion to consider the first variance.
I'll make a motion to consider the first variance.
We have a motion to consider the variance request of 2008 North Third for mobile home placement. Is there a second?
Also,
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
well, when do you plan on doing your,
Oh, we can do it at the beginning?
we can go to this, we do whatever you all want.
I want to do the election at the first or at the last?
Since you have a motion already.
Yep.
Well, we can track our motion.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to leave at 5, just so.
Okay, so we'll go. All right.
Yeah.
You want to retract your motion?
I'll retract my motion.
All right. So I need a motion to open nominations for chairman.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second. All right. All in favor? Aye. So,
I nominate Randy Bitterroot as chairman.
second. I appreciate the confidence on that. I would like to ask for you guys to consider the fact that I will be definitely gone in January and February and probably March.
We'll survive.
Are there any other nominations? Anybody else like to sit in the hot seat? Okay, motion to close nominations.
I'll make a motion to close the nominations.
All right, second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Do we have to vote on it since I'm the only one?
Yeah, just vote.
Need to move that you're elected by acclamation.
Do it.
Somebody needs to move that you are elected by acclamation.
I still move, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rattler. Second. All in favor, say aye. We need a motion to open nominations for vice chair.
I make a motion to open nominations for vice chair.
Second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nominations for vice chair?
I nominate Betty Prince for vice chair.
I'll second that nomination. Any other nomination? Sorry, I didn't.
I'll second.
Okay. So I guess I need to close nominations. Right? Motion to close nominations.
So moved.
Second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Need us, oh, thank you for the second. A motion to
Elect by acclamation.
there you go.
I make a motion to elect by acclamation Betty Prince.
Second,
Second.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Now, Brian, you want to do your other variant, your consideration?
Make a motion that we consider the variance request at 2008 North Third for the mobile home space.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Dave.
All right, Mr. Chair, members of the commission, we have a mobile home that was moved into a location without, as you can say, to summarize, briefly illegally. It didn't go through our proper permitting process. Whenever staff discovered it, they realized that this does not conform to setbacks. The front yard setback is, our code is required to be 25 foot, which on this is located on the west side. This will be the front yard setback. And also code, it requires either a minimum 30 foot or 30% of the depth of the lot, which the lot is 100 feet, so it's a 30-foot rear yard setback. As the mobile home's placed, it basically measures out to a 15.5-foot front yard setback and then a 7-foot rear yard setback. And going through, they do have our variance criteria. We put this together as far as unique physical conditions that do not exist. There's really, as far as condition or characteristic, not caused by an action or choice of the property owner, no. Variance is the minimum amount yet necessary for use of the property, yes. As far as the sole reason for the variance, it is, of course, to reduce financial hardship because moving it would require financial investment again. Will it affect public health, safety, or adjacent conforming properties? No, actually in that particular area with mobile home parks that have been granted similar variances, they actually have setbacks which are substantially less. It's not going to affect the characteristic of that particular area of the zoning district. As far as the only other remedy is to actually move the home to a lot in which it would fit on. I know staff and I discussed, and it's one of those where if the variance is granted, we can't see any safety concerns, given that the roadways are more than likely not going to be widened, you don't have any sight distance, and it's not going to change the overall characteristic of the area or the location. The only reason really to say no is because of bullet point number 4, which is the request for the variance is to reduce financial hardship. And that's our report.
Things that the variance was to be granted for this. The variance be written in such a way that
Only for them.
for this homeowner. Yes. So if they ever chose to sell that property,
It wouldn't carry on.
it wouldn't carry on.
You can write that, yes.
Are there any questions?
One thing, there has been some confusion as far as the actual address of the property. It hasn't been 911 address from what we understand yet. But we do have a legal description, and I am trying to find this in the application. Oh, there it is. So the actual legal description would be lot 23C, block 2 of the Flowers Division. So when you do make your motion, if you could state that legal description, that would help us for just clarification on records purposes. Yes, lot 23C, block 2, Flowers Edition.
You said 23.
That's actually on the application 23C.
I read 20. Tract of land, block 2, Flowers Edition, beginning 22 feet. Okay. In the north corner of 24. Any questions? Is there, is landowner here? Would you like?
Requires a translator.
Will you be willing to translate?
Sure.
If you'll come up to the podium and state your name.
I'm ready to go, please.
Whatever question, or whatever he would like to say about this.
No, sir.
No?
No.
Okay. No, sit
All
down.
right, thank you.
Any comments, any discussion? All right.
So it needs to have a property address and then this other. The legal.
And but what it'd be better to reference it by a legal description.
Make a motion that we approve the variance for the mobile home placement on lot 23 -8, block 2, the flower petition. This will only be for this owner, Robert. Only,
So you're saying it's not transferable.
that's right.
Is there a second? Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. James, does this one have to go in front of?
Yes. All of these regardless, will still go to the commission.
Can you explain to Robert that today, the Planning and Zoning Commission approved the variance, but it still has to be approved by the city commission? Thank you. So we need a motion to consider the request for a new street light.
I'd like to make a motion for request for a new street light at 706 West Avenue H.
I'll second it.
Motion and second, all in favor? So,
Yes, sir. Chair, members of the board, the owners of 706, or actually 711 West Avenue H requested a street light be placed. On this particular graphic, you can see the layout of the neighborhoods with the red area being the request for the new stoplight, or stop. Street light, not a traffic light, street light. So this actually conforms with the makeup of the area. Although we do have one out of place street light to the south, but as far as the makeup of the consistency of lighting in the neighborhood, the additional, it would be.
That corner is real dark.
So, but however, looking at it, staff are actually making a recommendation to not business. The rest of that, those several blocks actually conform, or to his lighting would go. The alternative is that if they're requesting additional lighting, they can actually have a security light installed at no expense to taxpayers of the city.
Yeah, if you look on the street to the north, there's only 3 on that block. This one would make 4, I guess, just that they're not spaced out like the others north. Pretty much everything to the north is just 3.
Dark.
Dark, yeah.
Go down the street light.
Once you start going south, there's that I and J.
Mhm.
James, do you know if, did Crystal, or did you ask anybody from Lee County Electric to check that area looking for light intensity?
No, sir.
You know, if Lee County Electric kind of standards that they try to meet for the residential area.
Don't believe so.
Even when you continue down H to the west, they're separated, just like those north. Seems like it should work. I can't remember what that street looks like at night. Seems like it's spaced out well enough for me.
Do they give a reason for the request?
No. I'm pinch hitting right now.
I didn't know if it was a formal written, that's what I was doing.
Bullet point 2 does say a review of the lighting in the area demonstrates uniform coverage.
Yeah, you can do it now.
Yeah, it says that they did a review of the lighting in the area and demonstrates uniform coverage. Do we have anyone here from 7-Eleven? Wait.
Is there anybody in the audience here with respect to the street light? No? Okay.
I'll make a motion that we deny the request for additional street lighting.
I'll second. I have a motion and a second. Is there all in favor? Please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay. Consideration. Motion to consider.
I'll make a motion to consider the vacate north 40 portion of Tyler request.
Second.
A second.
A motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Members of the board, so this is, I asked Crystal, it's like, why wasn't this all on action item? We have two different plats that have been drawn up, two different conditions. So the owners of 1002 North Second are requesting vacating the north portion of undeveloped West Tyler. As you can see, the area highlighted in blue, there's already been, I guess you would say, temporary structures already built on this. There are no utilities within that easement. There's no planned utilities or expansion or development of that roadway. They do desire to place a mobile home on the lot. However, there's not enough space with the existing small structure on that particular lot to meet the setbacks. So we are actually recommending vacation of that north 40-foot portion of Tyler Street, south of 1002 North Second Street.
You have no need for future utilities or anything.
No, sir, because in the next action item, you'll see there's already a one line on that particular side. Of the 40-foot.
All right. Any other questions for staff? No, we'll take a motion.
I'll make a motion that we vacate the north 40 portion of West Tyler as requested.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, consideration for the vacate on South Tyler.
So moved.
Second,
I'll second it.
all in favor, say aye. Aye. Wow.
Mr. Chair, members of the board. So the owners to the south of the undeveloped portion of Tyler are requesting vacation. They have provided a survey and a replat request. There is in this area on Orange a actual 2-inch water main that is within the city's road right of way or the platted roadway. The owners on their submission did plat a 10-foot easement for that water line. However, our field operators are requesting a 20-foot should we have the need to expand. There is an unpermitted carport, and I believe it actually has a concrete pad that is over the water line that would require removal over that water line. What staff are recommending is vacation of the 40-foot portion of Tyler as platted with a 20-foot utility easement in the area where the water line runs. As you can see, it's platted, there's our water line. So we are requesting that this actually be a 20-foot. And that is our recommendation.
So does this recommendation include removing the concrete for the carport now or just at the time if it was ever necessary?
And well, I know that Crystal has put on here, a carport will have to be removed, demolished. No other structure can be built on the utility easement. If a fence is built on the property, the city will be allowed access at all times to the utility easement with a gate provided and installed by the owners.
Okay. Is there anybody here to speak on this?
Yes.
If you would like to come up and state your name.
María Luisa Morales. She said the carpet, she is going to remove the part of the property that's above the water line, so we are going to remove that. And then we are going to extend the 10 feet that's under to be extended.
Okay. Anybody else want to speak on this?
Is that just for the south portion or the north?
The north portion has already been approved.
Oh,
Any questions for staff? Any further questions? No, I will take a motion.
Okay, I'll make a motion to follow staff's recommendation to vacate the south 40. Do I need to read all that?
No. All right, we have a motion to approve based on staff recommendations as written. Is there a second?
I'll second
Motion in second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
it.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Motion consideration for the last recommendation.
I'll make a motion to consider the recommendation for additional traffic control measures at Lionel School.
Is there a second? I'll second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, Bill Lewis, he just sent his apologies. He was unable to actually attend today. He made this request. He came in several weeks back to discuss with staff some different traffic control changes over at Lionel School. So we actually have 4 different requests as well as individual school recommendations. On the staff summary, you can see our final recommendations on it. However, the first is to develop a drop-off lane on the north side of the school on Avenue H, which there is sufficient room. That street is actually built out to about 48 feet, so you can throw a 12-foot drop-off lane to facilitate, control some of that traffic, increase safety of those students. That wouldn't require, or it wouldn't interfere with the east and westbound traffic. They are proposing that it's done with just traffic delineators, which they did request, or they did state they would be able to assist the city with. The city would request that we would not fund that. We would gladly install it, but they would be required to purchase those. I know they haven't installed the ones over on 9th Street yet for Avenue K. The only other condition that we would like to see changed, that if this body does recommend it and the commission approve it, is that we would remove that crosswalk, which is in the middle of Avenue H. It doesn't make sense to have pedestrian traffic crossing where they have those drop-off lanes. The second request was 2nd Street traffic dividers. They are requesting that traffic dividers be placed down the center of 2nd Street to prohibit a left-hand turn out of their parking lot. Right now, the traffic plan, they are making changes for the drop-off lanes over here, but this is to be the entrance, and currently is the entrance, and this is the exit. Back in 2015, we were requested to evaluate different traffic control measures within our school zones. One of the recommendations that staff still stand by, they need to create more than just arrows. They can use traffic delineators to force a turn to the right or force traffic to the north on 2nd Street. This is one of our fire lanes, so we don't want to have anything in the middle of the roadway to interfere with the flow of emergency traffic. So we're recommending to not approve traffic delineators on 2nd Street. Third request was establish some no parking areas on the east side of 2nd Street only. That's the yellow highlighted areas, just to make sure that they keep the entrance and the exits off of their parking lot clear, with a clear line of sight. We have no issue with just limiting traffic on that because the only property owner is the schools.
So,
Yes,
can we talk about this one for a second?
yes.
Right here, you're saying there's a fire lane already.
That is not marked as a fire lane.
No, you're saying
It's an emergency.
When I say, let me clarify. So when it's a fire lane, it's a route that's actually identified not only in city code, but also it's a route used by emergency vehicles. That's just the term. So it's not marked as a no parking area for fire purposes. That's actually closer to the building. We're just wanting to establish a no parking zone, basically from the intersection of, Avenue I on north to just north of their exit from their parking lot. The last request that they had was they were wanting to put in a 3-way stop. It's currently there's no stop sign here at this particular intersection. They were requesting that we evaluate putting in a 3-way stop here. We're not recommending that. That's going to lend to additional congestion. It is the fire lane, fire traffic route as well. But we also have the fact that it's been rumored that I guess Hillcrest is going to be starting up their own private school there as well. So we're not recommending the installation of an additional stop sign there, as we think it's also going to lead to problems just with how it's built. If you got a stop sign here, you go and then enter here. So it's just not one way to control the flow of traffic in that particular area. So a summary of our, this is just an overhead that was actually included in your packet. But a summary of our staff recommendations are traffic delineators between Avenue H, on Avenue H between 2nd and 1st. On the southern side to create that drop-off lane contingent upon removal of the crosswalk. No parking area between Avenue I up to the exit on that east parking lot. Also improvement of that turn limiting means out of their exit on that parking lot onto 2nd Street. And then we also have other recommendations, which I took the pages out of that document that were approved back in 2015 that we recommended to ease congestion in a particular area. With the exception, we do not want to change 1st Street into one-way. That's just, it's not feasible to do that. And that's my report.
Are they wanting as many of these? I mean, are they wanting one of these means? Or like H and 2nd Street, are they wanting to do something in both?
Yes.
Or just one? Okay.
No, they want to, all for the things we discovered they were requesting, but we're only recommending the drop off, and then, the no parking. We're not recommending putting the traffic delineators on Second Street, and we're not recommending the stop sign.
Okay. So the intersection that you showed, they were asking for the three-way.
Yes.
Is there not a stop sign on any part of that intersection?
The only, oh, I'm sorry, I left that out. There is a stop sign.
Yeah,
down
there
here.
is a stop sign.
Jay.
That's what I thought.
I'm sorry, I left that out.
Okay, all right. So we are stopping
The
we're not
traffic
stopping the mainline traffic.
Yes.
on Second Street.
Okay.
I think that drop off deal would be really great.
Are there any questions for staff?
That was my only question.
Good.
If not, take a motion.
I'll make a motion, we approve staff recommendation.
I'll second. A motion to approve recommendations from staff. All in the second, all in favor, signify by saying aye. For the same sign. All right, that concludes the action items. James, you want to introduce our new board members?
Yes, sir. This is David Camp. He's our newest member that was appointed last night. For those of you, I believe, I don't honestly remember off the top of my head who the other, I know it was,
Brenda,
well, Brenda, yes. But Randy was reappointed,
Brian,
you were reappointed, and you were reappointed last night by the city commission as well. And Mr. Camp is actually replacing Brenda. So we did thank her for her service, but welcome Mr. Camp on board, so get him up to speed.
We're excited to have you.
the links.
I couldn't beat you, so I joined you.
But you won anyway.
I do.
You won anyway, and
Who's responsible for this?
it's tough sitting here and going through this. And at the end of the day, our job is to look at it and make decisions based on where the city is trying to, where we're trying to get to from the law. We have a city commission that actually, that's their job, is to make those decisions for their constituents. We're just an advisory.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn this meeting.
One second, all in favor, say aye. Thank you, James. Thank you, welcome.